Hey, this is Mr. Springer. I'm going to tell you a little bit about atoms today, and I'm going to put the information in the form of a chart. Atoms are made of three particles. They're called protons, neutrons, and electrons. And the protons and the neutrons are living in the nucleus. And the electrons are outside of the nucleus. And some things that's helpful for you to use are some symbols so you don't have to write out the word proton and neutron all the time. So I like to use a lowercase p and a plus for the symbol for a proton, a lowercase n with a 0 for the neutron, and an e with a minus lowercase for the electron, and that'll make more sense in a little bit. In fact, right now, the charges, each proton carries a charge of +1. Each neutron has no charge. That's because they're neutral. Where they get their name. And electrons have a charge of -1. Not just minus, not just 1, -1. Not just plus, not just 1, +1. The mass of a proton, they're very tiny. In fact, they're so tiny it's like 10 to the -27th or something if you're using grams or kilograms. We'd rather use a different unit. So we're going to use units called the atomic mass units. Atomic mass units, or AMU for short, and the mass of a proton is about 1 AMU. The mass of a neutron is slightly more, but it's close enough, we'll call it 1 AMU. And the electrons, even though they have mass, compared to the proton and the neutron, it's kind of like comparing my mass to this marker. Okay. This has mass, but compared to me, it's very tiny. If I got on the scale with this in my pocket and took it out, you're not going to know any difference. So we're going to use 0 AMUs for the mass of the electron. Now, why do we care? If we know the number of protons, we know what's called the atomic number, and that tells us what the identity of the element is. If you look on your periodic table, you find the element carbon. It's got a number 6 by it somewhere. That's the number of protons. And the nucleus of the carbon atom is 6. If it's got 7, it's not carbon anymore, it's nitrogen. If it's got 5, it's not carbon anymore, it's boron. Number of neutrons, well, not the number, but just the ratio of protons and neutrons. Determines whether or not the atom is radioactive, or the stability of the nucleus is related to the protons and neutron ratio. Sorry about the bell. And for electrons, why do we care about those? We really can't do anything about either of these two in a chemistry lab. That involves a nuclear reaction, and we're not able to do that. But we can do chemical reactions, and that's all based on the number of electrons and how they're arranged. So the types of chemical bonds and the chemical properties are all related to where the electrons are and how many there are and their arrangement. So hopefully this will help you understand a little bit more about the atom, and I'll see you next time.